good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for tuning in with us today. Today, we are taking another webinar. We are having another webinar which will be centered on the new certification for the Advanced Level Test Analyst 4.0. And I have the pleasure to have with me Matthias Hamburg, the product owner of this new certification. Thank you, Matthias, for joining us today.
Thank you, Loveless, and hello from my side as well to everyone. It is my pleasure to present our brand new version of the Advanced Level Test Analyst certification, which has been launched just 3 weeks ago on the 16th of May.
Thank you, Matthias. So let's get directly into the fire of the subject. I would ask, why is this certification important? And also, most importantly, for whom is this certification made?
This is an important topic to understand. And if you remember, in the foundation level certification, we talk about two main roles in testing, the test management role and the dynamic testing role, so to say. And the test analyst certification addresses the role of the dynamic tester, who is responsible for thoroughly evaluating the software's business aspects. So others are specialized in technical aspects, but in this case, we are focusing on the business aspects. And this ensures that the software features align with the user needs, with the business needs. And this is something crucial to independent testing. That means the testers have to be independent of the developers. They don't base their testing on the development structure or design. They base them on the needs of the users and the business. And the software industry demands highly skilled test analysts, indeed, because if you are the client of a development project, not the contractor or supplier, then you want to ensure that the result, the product, is really confirmed to the needs that you want. So proficiency in test engineering best practices is very important for the test analyst, and he should be able to apply various test techniques.
That makes sense. So it is still centered on the black box, on the dynamic testing for aspect of the software testing. That's true.
Yes,
so
indeed.
Then,
truly. Yeah. And it's addressing the generic industry, so it's not specialized on specific industry domains or branches.
Understood. All right. So then, if I'm not mistaken, the last certification for TA, so the previous release was in 2019. So what was the need for ISTQB to create a new version for this certification?
Well, we reflected on this need early after releasing the 2019 version. And actually, you might know that international standards are revising their scope and revising whether they need a new product version every 5 years. And so we started in time to get a new version ready within 5 years. And we saw the need for it because on the one hand, we wanted to update the contents of the certification. Nowadays, industry is progressing very quickly in technology, and there is need for advancing. On the other side, we wanted also to improve the quality of our certification program, because ISTQB is also progressing in its didactic quality, and we wanted to align the new version of the syllabus with the new requirements, quality requirements. So we aligned the structure with the latest ISTQB guidelines. We incorporated recent updates of the core certificates. I can discuss them in more detail later. And We also align the topics with the needs of current testing of the industry currently.
Yeah. Okay. Right. That totally makes sense. Why this certification is relevant for the ever evolving market, the software testing market. So definitely, a lot have been had happened with ISTQB since it was last released in 2019. So there must have been some changes in ISTQB as well with preparing the space for this new certification. Give us
Exactly.
some headlines
Yeah.
of it.
Yes. Let me give you some aspects. First of all, actually, all the certification products around the test analyst have changed since during the last 5 years. The foundation level has issued a new major version which incorporates agility mainly, which was before it was in a separate certification. Now it incorporates it, which was not reflected in the test analyst. The test management has just 1 year ago issued a new version, which also aligned with this, with the updates in the industry. The technical test analyst had a new version, and we got also a new version in the core section of ISTQB, the test automation engineering, which also issued a new version just half a year ago. So we wanted to align the test analyst with them as well. The international standards, which are very important for our test analysts, have changed in this period of time. So we have the standard series 29119 of the ISO and IEEE, focused on software testing, which has changed, especially its part 4 dealing with test techniques, because black box test techniques are one of the major part of this certification. And the main ISO standard 25010 for software quality model for the product quality model has also changed, had some updates, not so important, but still it's relevant for us. And on the other side, ISTQB, as you mentioned, Lovelash has evolved in its didactic quality. So we have new guidelines. We need a one-to-one correspondence between learning objectives and the sections to be to understand it easier, what to learn for a certain learning objective. The section length have to correspond to the respective level of cognitive knowledge, such that trainers can dedicate a limited amount of time for the training, and it's easier to read. At least we tried. We did our best. Of course, we're open for change requests, but we tried to make it easier to read, to understand, to learn, and to translate. And finally, the sample exam has also been adjusted. Its structure has been adjusted such that we have the current question writing rules and recommendations incorporated in it. So this was mainly the didactic part. Right.
Right, the whole ecosystem. So
Yes.
the syllabus needed to have this to catch up with the whole evolution of the ecosystem within ISTQB and the standards and the market demand as well. So, Matthias, if you don't mind, let's go deeper in the technical aspect of this syllabus. So, what is new in this syllabus?
Yeah, the topics have been revised completely. And this is now about the contents, not about the structure mainly, right? So we revised the test techniques that we deal with. We found that, for instance, among the classic test techniques, equivalence, partitioning, and boundary value analysis are important, but the main testing is a more general form, which is more advanced and can be more effective and efficient. We introduced CRUD testing as well, but these are the classic part. Now, regarding the evolution of our industry, we found that artificial intelligence is becoming more and more ubiquitous everywhere. So test analysts are not specialists for testing AI-based systems, but they have to support and take into account that nowadays new systems will have AI-based components. And This includes handling test oracles because AI-based systems do not have specific expected outcomes. But you still have to evaluate whether a test passed or failed. This includes metamorphic testing, which is a relatively new test technique, which has been introduced by ISTQB into the AI testing syllabus, but we think it's mainstream and it should be included in the core knowledge. And we also added random testing, which is another test technique addressing oracle problems. We also consider that the industry needs much more automation than before. And test analysts have to contribute to this as well, especially to support continuous integration, continuous delivery pipelines. And this includes the selection of risk-based testing test suites. This includes automating the test design such that you don't have to stop and spend much time in designing test cases. And it includes also supporting keyword-driven scripting. So a test analyst should be able to write his test cases in keywords such that they can easily be automated. And finally, we think that early feedback has to be supported by test analysts. So we included a defect prevention strategy. So a test analyst can tell the team, look, here is a pinpoint where defects are clustering. So please make something to avoid the defects being introduced.
Right. So this certification is the collection of the toolkit that an experienced tester will be required to have on the market right now. And yeah, it's very relevant to the day-to-day activity that a tester would need. Yeah. Okay. So now about the changes that our accredited training providers will need to go through. Is there any change in the exam, in the training? So let's have an insight on this, Matthias.
Right. The trainings have to be re-accredited. So the new version is a major version, meaning that we practically rewrote everything in the syllabus. And this means if you're a training provider and you have material, you have to revamp your material and make a full re-accreditation. The exam questions will also be completely new, but this is the content. This is really only about the content. So the training duration is still 3 days of training. It's unchanged. The exam duration is still 2 hours of exam. Of course, the exam structure has changed. So the exam structure tells you how many questions will there be for which learning objectives and how many points do you get per learning objective and what is the pass rate. So these details can be found on the ISTQB web pages. And so people can prepare for the examination. We also publish, of course, a sample exam as usual. And so this supports preparation of the exams. But it's mainly a new version.
Right. Thank you for all this information, Matthias. But if I understand it well, we are still allowed to take to get certified on the previous version of the TA. So how will the transition from the old version to the new version of the certification be done?
Yes, this is the standard ISTQB timeline for sunsetting an old version and introducing a new version. So the new version is now published. As I mentioned, on the 16th of May, it has been published. Some exam providers even have already exams, so you can take the exam already if you don't need much preparation. The release notes, so the syllabus includes a detailed release note section in Appendix C, which explains the changes in content. And in addition, we also explain what has changed in the ISO 25010 software quality model, product quality model in Appendix F, which might be interesting to some people. But the sunset of the old version will be 1 year after publishing the new version. That will be on May 16, 2026 in English, and 6 months later in November in any other languages. The other languages need some time to translate, so that's why this difference is standard. But remember that we have at ISTQB this grandfathering policy that if you have a certificate taken on the previous version of this test analyst, then it will still remain valid. However, I would recommend to look at the new syllabus, to study the new material, to keep up to date as a test analyst. And it is even helpful to retake the exam if you want. Then you get, of course, a new certificate with a new version, but that confirms that you are up to date with your topic.
Perfect. All right. I think that's a ton of information that you've given us, Matthias. Thank you again for all these clarity about the new certification. We do have some questions from our audience as well. So there is one question about the technical, the test analyst. If the test analyst is focusing on the business aspect, what is the equivalent of the technical aspect? I think that's pointing towards the technical test analyst certification, maybe. I'm not sure.
Yes. So at ISTQB, we have different syllabi addressing the technical aspects. One of them is the technical test analyst, which has been issued in version 4.0, which is incorporating both the development-centered or white box test techniques, so supporting development in early test levels like unit testing, and also provides an overview of non-functional aspects of testing non-functional aspects. There are some non-functional quality characteristics in the quality model which are not dealt with in specific syllabi. For instance, reliability testing, we don't have a specific syllabus for that, but a technical test analyst would be proficient in that. On the other side, other quality characteristics like performance and load behavior are addressed in specific syllabi. So look at the specialist tranches of our portfolio, and you will find some syllabi addressing quality characteristics, and the others are covered in the core syllabus for technical test analysts.
Thank you, Matthias. I think we don't have, I can't see any further questions from our audience. But for our audience now, if ever you have any question, feel free to reach out to us for our social media platform, or even on this video, you can comment, and then there will be someone from ISTQB who will be getting back to you with the answers. So, Matthias, any last word for us?
Well, I'm wishing anyone who is interested in the topic having much fun and success with learning the test analyst skills.
Thank you, Matthias. Well, I'm fully convinced about the value of this new certification, and I believe our audience as well, with these information that you have shared with us, is convinced as well. Thank you again, Matthias, for your time. It was a pleasure having you with us today to shed some light on this new certification. Let's stay tuned on istqb.org in that case. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.